Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to teaching.
Class is back in session, guys.
Okay, going back in training mode here.
Yeah.
So, if you're just joining us, welcome.
Yes.
We are in the midst of a new series here on the channel where I am teaching Colin how to play fighting games.
Because I desperately need it.
You guys by extension. So, today we are going to be talking about the first steps of getting into a fighting game.
Exactly.
Any kind of fighting game, any kind of new fighting game to you, we're going to talk about how to get into it. So we're going to just get into training mode here. So, when you first buy a fighting game, you're probably going to want to just go in and start playing, and that's fine. You know, that's how you should go. But after you've done that for a while, you're going to notice that different characters have different ways of just operating, you know? You've got your standard characters, you've got like projectiles, long range, who have pretty much all kinds of different options for everything. Then you have your grapplers, who work pretty exclusively with command grabs as their main way of dealing damage and stuff like that, and their combos get them into grabs and whatnot. Then you've got your speed characters, who don't necessarily specialize in like long range attacks, at least not high damaging ones, but they get in there. They get in there and they're able to deal a lot of hits very quickly, but not necessarily heavy hits. Then of course you've got your tanks, who deal lots of damage and oftentimes take a lot of damage but are slow moving, such as him as well. Then you've got your trap characters, who are designed around getting people into specific positions to do weird shit with them. They're the most complex kind of characters. Okay?
Sounds great.
So, when you're getting into a game, you're going to want to figure out what kind of character each person is, and you'll probably end up gravitating towards one character or another based purely on, like, you know, the way they look or whatever, or like their fighting style. But you'll also probably be gravitated towards characters based on the type of character they are and the way that you choose to play fighting games. So, getting in here, let's go ahead. I'm going to be Cammy because she's the one I know how to use, and we're going to give you Ryu.
Sounds great.
He's a basic-ass character.
Basic-ass.
So,
for me.
then you'll get into this part of some games where they'll have like special triggers or special modes that you have to set. I'm just going to choose our V-trigger ones for us for now.
It's the ultimate showdown in the training arena.
If you're wondering why I choose Kanzuki Estate, I just like the way it looks. Oh, and by the way, I updated to Arcade Edition, so now we have frame data.
Sweetness!
And moves.
That's actually really helpful.
But do you know why?
Not the top, off the top
No,
of my
you
head.
don't.
Nope,
You
nope,
don't know
I
why.
do not. Nope.
Well, the reason why frame data is helpful is because it helps us in determining plus and minus of different moves. So see, looking up here now, it's going to be a lot easier for me to figure out how to get into certain moves based on how many frames of startup a certain move has and how many frames plus another move is. So see, my heavy kick is +4.
Okay.
So anything that has less than 4 frames of startup I can get on now. But we'll get into that later. See, that was a 3-hit combo because +4,
Gotcha.
less than +4. Anyways, so we'll get into that next episode actually, where we're going to be talking about creating combo strings and whatnot. Whoa, really? Wait, what was that? +5? That's awesome. Okay. Anyways, get out of stuff. So when you're picking up a game, first of all, I'm going to turn this attack data off because that's stuff that we're going to be using next time.
Ooh.
They're not going to be using it today because when you're first picking up a game, most games won't have that. So you're going to want to be looking up things like that. But when you first get your hands on a game, you want to experiment around, you know? You want to hit the buttons, see what each button does. See if you can get a handle on how things work. Because sometimes you won't get the opportunity to, like, you know, look at a manual for a game or whatnot. You'll just have to go based on what the game is.
Yeah, they really don't have manuals for games anymore.
Exactly. But most games have tutorials. However, you might be, like, at a friend's house and they're like, let's play this fighting game. And it could be a game you've never played before. Anyways, you're going to want to figure out, you're going to want to take a second. They're going to probably come in at you, but you're going to want to take a second to just try guard, like, go at me, come at me. Like we're actually playing a match. So, let's say I've never played this game before, right? I'm going to play it real defensive here for a little bit. While I try to figure out what each button is. Because my friend might not be a nice guy. My friend might not be a guy who will let me figure out what each button does. Once I think I have a grasp on it, and the way that you do that is obviously just hit all the buttons. See what they do. Oh, look at that. That's a weird thing. I wonder what that does. Oh, look at that. That was different than what it normally is. Shit like that, you know, experimenting.
Gotcha.
Experimenting is important when you're first getting your hands on a fighting game. So once you've experimented around a bit with what the buttons do, and you think you have a grasp on it, so once you figured out, okay, so Street Fighter is a 6-button fighter. I have 3 punches, 3 kicks, and that's how that works. Okay, now I've got a handle on that. I'm gonna start experimenting around with different inputs. Down forward punch doesn't do anything. What about my down forward kicks? Oh, look at that, it's a spiral arrow. That's cool. So I can do that. Is there anything else I can do? Is she a charge character maybe? Oh, is that a charge move? I don't know, let me see. No, it doesn't seem like it was a charge move. Oh, okay, it was a half circle forward. So you see what I'm talking about?
I gotcha.
That kind of experimentation. Of course you have Ryu, and of course we all know Ryu's fighting style. At least we probably do.
Yeah.
We probably know the things that he does.
Hadouken and Shoryuken and the Tetsupaki, what?
Tatsumaki Senpuku.
That move, yeah.
So then you're going to want to experiment around. And when you're first getting your hands on a fighting game, you don't want to concern yourself too much with making strings and whatnot, you know? You want to concern yourself more with getting comfortable with the controls, getting comfortable with what characters are, experimenting around with different characters. I really encourage that. Nice try. Don't just get stuck in like, well, she's pretty, so I want to play her. 'Cause
yeah.
She might not be your best character.
You might be better at other characters.
So once you've gotten your handle of that, then what I want you to consider is you're coming back to play this game later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've experimented around, you've had your fun your first time out, you've played against level 3 computers or your friend who doesn't really know what they're doing, but you wanna get better at the game. So the first steps that I want you to take is go into training mode, okay? See what you've got here, just in general, okay? So here in Street Fighter, for instance, we've got, you know, start positions, side settings, attack data, frame advantage and color, and key display. So if we put frame advantage in color and we put attack data on, for instance, we're going to see that I have frame advantage here, so I can do another move. It's not your turn. We can see that when I land a heavy kick, stand up. When I land a heavy kick, I have frame advantage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got
Frame
you.
advantage is a really important thing to get to know. Frame advantage is like you have advantage over the other player. If you want to guard after a move, if you have frame advantage, you can do that. If you don't have frame advantage, you can't guard after the move. So you can see here, when I'm landing hits, if you're guarding them, sometimes you have frame advantage. See? Guard this. You have frame advantage there.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted to punish me, stop, block. If you wanted to punish me, you could after that.
Right.
With the right move. So that's what frame advantage is. You're going to want to get used to that, but again, we'll get into that a little bit more later. Right now we're just talking about the basics. So once you figured out that it's a 6-button fighter, right? You want to start experimenting around with what's in the menu. And see what everything is there, you know? Got key display, what is that? I honestly don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
it's that.
Yeah, it shows you.
So you've got that. Then I want you to go into your command list of your characters. Decide what character you want to play, right? Pick a character, go into a command list, and start seeing what everything is that it'll do. Look at this. Her V-Trigger 2 has all this weird shit that I'm not familiar with because I haven't practiced with her V-Trigger 2 at all. So I'll get used to that eventually, hopefully. But her V-Trigger 1 has a bunch of stuff that gets special with it and whatnot. What is this? Hooligan combination? Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's got all this. So then, I want you to experiment around. You've experimented a little bit, figured some stuff out on your own, like you've tried the Hadoken inputs, but you might have forgotten, like, half circles are a thing, or Shoryuken inputs are a thing. Things like that. So, after you've looked at your command list, try out every move. Try out every move on every button. See how... Stop moving for a sec. For example, that's my light punch on that move, medium punch on that move, heavy punch on that move. It just sends me different angles. Well, now that's important because you're going to want to know where your hitboxes are, and you're not going to have access to hitbox data in a game unless you mod it.
Yeah.
So, after that, after you've learned where some of their hitboxes land and whatnot, then start turning on the computer to do stuff like guard and counters. See what properties the moves have on those different areas, you know? Get used to it. So for instance, in this game, what we can do is we can, where is it at? You can turn counters on, for example. I'm trying to find where that's at.
Dummy.
Is it here? Playback recording. Yeah, so if you turn the dummy to dummy, and then you can turn counters on. Now every move that I land that's at the beginning of a combo is going to be a counter. So you can see what different properties those have. For instance, come on. For instance, this move has a lot larger, come on. Has a lot more, like, frame advantage in counter mode than it does. I think if I don't know. There's something you can do. I don't remember. Again, this is not my game, but you can turn stuff on like that. Here, let's get you back in here. So experiment around with these things, like what does guard all? So, and then I'm gonna turn on frame data just because. So, like for instance, when you're guarding all, you can then see like, oh, what moves. There's some moves that do still give me frame advantage on guard. So like my light punches, my light kicks. Still, it's my turn. But if I do a heavy punch on guard, I'm punishable after that within 3 frames.
Right.
So you're going to want to learn stuff like that. Just, you know, experiment around with the character that you choose. Get used to them. Learn what they do. Learn the way that their moves work in different areas. Still have frame advantage. That's nice. Still have frame advantage on medium punch. Anyways, that's that. And that's basically it for today.
Oh, sweet.
There's not a lot to getting started in a game. However, there is one more thing that I would like you to consider when going about doing this. After you've had your fun, just experimenting with the character on your own, I want you to go through and do a little bit of research on your character, you know? Go through and find out exactly what are you trying to do right now?
I thought this was...
That's your V skill.
Oh.
Do it. Okay, don't do that. Do your V skill. Do it again. Keep doing it.
I'm pressing both of them.
It's just the one. Just hit the L2 button, Colin.
Oh, L2.
What the fuck are your controls, man?
Probably not yours.
Mine are the default. What the fuck is up with you?
I don't know what my controls might be different.
Here, push pause. Go to your controller settings. Yeah, why is that? Set your V skill to L2 or L1. You should have V skill and V trigger on your L's in this game, because throw is just light punch and light kick, which is really easy to input. So you can have it however you want, but that's just like how I would recommend it. I wouldn't recommend having throws on your L's. Okay, now exit. Well, that's probably from when we were playing with Carlos.
Yeah, that's actually probably true.
Probably wanted, because he has, because unlike us, who are using controllers, he has a fight pad and was probably doing that. So now, hit L, yeah, waste your V trigger, there you go. Okay, now use L2 as your V trigger. Yeah. Keep doing it. I don't, it's supposed to be a counter.
That's what I thought it was. It seems like it's doing.
1 second. We're just... Here, you push start. Go to your command list. Go to your right. One more. Mind's eye. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Go down to it. No? Okay, go back.
Icon info.
Yeah, that's just telling you what everything means. Go back. Oh, and by the way, yeah, helpful tip. Some games will have, like, this icon info. If you're confused as to what down or what these things mean, it'll tell you in here. So, like, it'll tell you this means hold down, this means hold right. And typically this is how it will display it. So that Z one's a little confusing. That's just forward quarter circle. It's just forward quarter circle. So it's, for me, forward quarter circle kick is a cannon spike.
For me, it's a sure you can. Nope,
If you can do it.
Because I keep sliding into. There we go. Keep sliding into the Hadouken.
Well, that's because Hadouken is quarter circle. You were double tapping for some reason, and I don't know why you were doing that.
Catch up to you.
You don't have to do that.
Maybe I want to land the head.
Anyways, so yeah. What was I saying before we got distracted by your V skill?
You were just rapping like that was it for today.
Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, but I was saying something about research. Yeah,
Oh,
researching
yeah.
your characters. Researching your characters is important. I want you to look up like hitboxes and whatnot. Figure out the lengths of some things more than just in practice. Look up the actual thing. You obviously don't have to have it memorized, but it's helpful to just have that information somewhere in your head, you know? So, with that in mind, homework time.
Oh, yay.
Your homework for today is to look up hitboxes on whatever character it is you want to play in a game. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
For now, let's stick to pick a Street Fighter character that you want to look at. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And look up its hitboxes. See if you can find some nice images to help you out with certain moves and what the hitboxes look like, how long those hitboxes take to come out and whatnot. All that jazz. All that jazzy jazz. And we'll see you next time, where we're going to be talking about some more of the deep stuff, such as creating combo strings.
Ooh, now we're getting to the good
where
stuff.
We're actually going to start learning stuff. And Colin, have you been thinking about what game you're going to want to be learning?
Probably Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay, cool. We'll get into that, not next episode, but episode after that, probably we'll start getting into that.
Yeah.
Because we're going to start talking more about some more specific things to not necessarily Marvel vs. Capcom, but when you get into a game, more specifics that you should be looking for.
Yeah.
Because again, this is just the basics right now. We're just talking about how to get your feet wet in a game.
The good and basis.
Pick a character. Play all the characters so you know what you're doing.
Yes.
Experiment with them. Go to training mode. All that jazz.
Alright.
So, again, your homework, look up hitboxes for specific characters that you want to learn. Okay, that's all.
Class is out, guys.
Bye.
See you later.